Mumolo, thank you so much for joining us at 80s Movie Guide to talk about your new film, Confess Fletch, a long awaited film, follow-up to the Fletch films. So I have to ask you, as big Fletch fans, to start off with, one of the most quotable comedies in the 80s of all time. What's your favorite Fletch line?
Oh, from this one?
No, well, I want to know both. I want to know from this one and I want to know from the original.
Um, I like from this one, I love when he speaks bad Italian. Anything Fletch says in Italian is my favorite thing. I can't think of like off the cut, like I can't think of off the cuff like quotes from the original Fletch. I just know that I loved those movies, but I don't have, I can't think of exact quotes.
Oh, that's
It
okay.
was a long time ago. I've
Putting
had
you on
two
the spot.
children. I don't have the brain memory anymore.
I remember there's a part where he introduces himself as Dr. Rosenpenis.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
On that, like, when did you see the original Fletch, and what was your thoughts in taking on this, this franchise and being a part of it?
Oh gosh, I saw the original Fletch in the late 80s when I was, just a wee thing.
Yeah, an infant.
I was an infant, yes. And I loved those movies. I always was a huge Chevy Chase fan. When I heard about this one, first of all, it was John Hamm and Greg Mottola want to ask you to do something. And I was like, yes. I said yes before I even really knew what it was. And then I heard what it was and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was so excited. And then I got a little scared because I was like, oh no, because, there's going to be comparisons. But then I felt so good about the team and of course, John and Greg that I was pretty much in from the get-go and I was in on the whole thing. And it exceeded my expectations, the experience.
Well, I loved your character, and I know that Fletch calls you a pothead or whatever. So I was just wondering if you did any research to become Eve.
An hour or
Kylie. Okay.
Based on anybody.
I have two kids. I have two children.
It's
Okay.
LA. It's all right.
Have I done research in my life for this movie? Yes. And then
Is Eve based on anybody? Is Eve like a little bit of you? Is she a little bit of
I would say that every character for me, I tap into some part of myself. That's a very real part of myself.
Mhm.
I do relate a lot with Eve. That, I'm a single mom with two kids, and I pretty much feel like I'm inside of a tornado every day. So yeah, that part was actually felt very natural for me. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's just basically a scene where I get to like play myself and not censor myself or try to be something else. Great.
That's always the best character.
Yeah.
How much improv is in Eve? How much of it was scripted and how much of it did you just make up on the fly? And are there many takes that we'll be able to see later?
She was very scripted because the scene was very technical. And when scenes are like that, you can't improvise too much because things are cut and moved around. And, it was a very technical scene. Pans falling, turning, flames going up, blood flying. So there were only a few tiny parts where either John made a suggestion or John and I thought of a few ideas and kind of played with them, but it was very small moments because of the time we had to work very quickly and we had incredible technical challenges.
Stunts are hard.
Stunts are hard when you're talking and you feel like a 3-foot tall flames going up behind you and you're just pretending that you're not afraid you're gonna start a fire.
Is there an 80s movie specifically, like not necessarily Fletch, but an 80s movie that you just like love or you grew up with? Just we're an 80s.
Oh my gosh, we're an 80s world. Where do I even start? Staying Alive with John Travolta. I loved Girls Just Want to Have Fun. My friend and I tried to give ourselves perms like Sarah Jessica Parker and Helen Hunt and Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
How big was your hair? Like, you know,
Oh, I have a pictures. It was actually our perms we didn't do it right. So it was like, we looked like Shirley Temple. It went wrong. We didn't look cool. Like we thought it didn't turn out that way. I loved a lot of I loved Fletch. I loved anything Chevy Chase. I loved Caddyshack. I watched a lot of the Stripes, Bill Murray, a lot of those, and Goldie Hawn, Overboard. Yeah.
Well, you know, on that note, I mean, how do you think comedy has changed since the 80s? You know, I mean, for instance, in Fletch, right, in the original ones, he's being all these over the top zany characters. And now I feel in this one, it's more that, you know, Fletch is funny and witty, but it's the supporting characters like Eve that are over the top.
I think that there are some things that are different and some things that I like that feel almost nostalgic, that they do sort of still kind of capture that 80s feeling. But I like how this movie doesn't have to go hard R, or like there's no pushing in this movie for shock value, or, you know, it's just it's silly, but it is real and grounded. And the comedy's coming from that within these real kind of wacky characters, but they're having it has more of a real grounded feeling. Everything is sort of a example of its time, representation of its time. So I feel like those Fletch movies were in the 80s were like perfect for that time and what they were. And then I do feel like this is perfect for its time as well. And I also did like how it sort of feels a little bit like a throwback, but a modern throwback to that time period, if that makes any sense. I used to like Beverly Hills Cop, you know, those kinds of movies where it's just a mystery that you're solving, but there's comedy in it, but it's not crazy out there, like pushing for hard jokes or it's just a very effortless sort of natural flow to it, which I really like. Does that make sense? I hope
Yeah, it does. It
Okay.
totally does.
And last question. Does Mignon pee on command? Or did someone else pour some water on the carpet?
Mignon pees on command.
Oh.
She pees off command. Oh, do you mean the character?
The actual
Birdie the dog
in real life.
Okay. Mignon is played by Birdie the dog, who's a wonderful angel. Oh. No, she did not pee on command. That was a camera trick. It was a stunt.
No.
It was a stunt.
Yeah. We had to ask because this guy pretty much does like our dog.
Our Mignon.
What's
pretty
his
much
name?
Yeah, this is Wilson. And
Wilson. He's so cute.
He's 16.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I have 2 rescues, and yes, they pee all over the place. They're not house trained, and it's one of my daily sort of with my kids, like one of my daily frustrations is finding
the surprise
surprise
where it's been left that day. Yeah. It's always an adventure.